We are taking chapter number 1, Constitution, Why and How. Question and answer on Constitution, Why and How. Which of these is not a function of the Constitution? The answer is C. It ensures the good people come to power. Why it is not true? Because it is the responsibility of people like us to vote good people to power. Only what is power, how the power will be shared, this is given by the Constitution. Which of the following is good reason to conclude that the authority of the Constitution is higher than that of the Parliament? Because Constitution says about Parliament, it defines the Parliament. Therefore, the answer is the Constitution specifies how Parliament is to be formed and what are its powers. State whether the following statements about a Constitution are true or false. Constitution are written documents about formation and power of the government, and this is true. Constitution exists and are required only in democratic countries. No, it is false, because in non-democratic countries also we find constitutions. Constitution is a legal document that does not deal with ideals and values. This is false, because Constitution is a legal document that also deals with the ideals and the values of the society and the community and as a country as a whole. A Constitution gives its citizen a new identity. Yes, moral identity, political identity, all this is given by the Constitution. State whether the following inferences about the making of the Indian Constitution are correct or incorrect. Give a reason to support your answer. The Constituent Assembly, that is the Samvidhan Sabha, did not represent the Indian people since it was not elected by all citizens. And this is purely incorrect, because the members of the Constituent Assembly, that is the Samvidhan Sabha, they were not elected by the universal suffrage. That is, the people actually have not voted for them. But there was a serious attempt to make the Assembly representative as a representative of all the people who belong to whether the Riyasat controlled by British or not by British. The Constituent Assembly represented the members of all religion, caste, creed, social, economic groups to accommodate all shades of opinion with it. The Assembly had 26 members from the scheduled caste also. Next is, the Constitution did not involve any major decisions since there was a general consensus among the leaders at the time about its framework. Now, it is true that the basic framework is agreed by everyone, but it is incorrect because the members not agreed with each other on many things. They used to debate. They have matbhed. So each particular provisions of the Constitution was subjected to debate by the entire Assembly. Next is, there was a little originality in the Constitution, for much of it was borrowed from other countries. See, there was a written document of 1935, so most of this is taken from them. But the good things from other constitution, means successful constitutions, were also taken. And those were taken which are in the Indian community, they can be settled or they can be justified. So though they borrowed, that is, we borrowed number of provisions from constitutions of different countries like the Ireland, Canada, United States of America, but it was not based upon salvage limitation. Each provision before it was included well considered by the members of the Constituent Assembly. So Constituent Assembly has to define, they have to justify that this particular constitution is actually required in Indian society, Indian panorama. Long debates and discussions also took place to examine the suitability of the conditions prevailing in India along with the problems and aspirations of the people. Give 2 examples each to support the following conclusions about the Indian Constitution. First, the Constitution was made by credible leaders who commanded people respect. So, the factors which are responsible, that is 2 examples we can take. The member of the Constituent Assembly, again the Samvidhan Sabha, was elected indirectly by the member of provincial legislative assemblies to be established in 1935. An assembly reflected each of the communities, provinces, princely states also through an appropriate formula of proportion. Even these members, sometimes you see 28, 26, so we can make it as 26 because in NCERT, English and Hindi book, the numbers are different. That is why we can just say that in NCERT English it is 28, so we go with 28. Members belong to the scheduled caste. And the members of Constituent Assembly went through long debates and discussion for 166 days. And it is not days actually, it is 166, you can say days, and these are the baithaks. These are the meetings, you can say. Meetings spread over 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. So round about, you can say 3 years it took to make the constitution. The constitution has distributed power in such a way to make it difficult to subvert it or to finish it, to remove it. So our constitution has made institutional arrangement of government on the basis of check and balance approach. That is, we have the legislative, we have the executionary and the judiciary. The balance approach of check and balance power has been distributed such that no one can have enough power or monopoly to destroy others. If one of the institution goes beyond its limitation or goes beyond the boundary, the other would check it. The procedure for amendments is well elaborated for different articles of the constitution. Some of them cannot be changed if you don't have 2/3 majority in the parliament, and also half of the state assembly should acknowledge it. The following factors, let us see the question. The constitution is the locus of people, hope and aspiration. So the factors responsible here is the constitution has provided some fundamental rights, Maulik Adhikar, along with protected provisions, and the judiciary has powers to protect them, that is, they are legal. The Constitution of India has incorporated some directive principle of state policy, Niti Nideshak Tattva, which are not justifiable, but they are just not there, but they are actually the moral duty of the government to fulfill it. The government has also given some effects through these in the form of fixed minimum wages, formation of the Panchayati Raj institution, the employment guarantee scheme, the midday meal scheme. These are all the hopes and aspirations of the people. People want roti, kapda, makan, and along with that they want education, they want good health. This is what the government is doing. Why is it necessary for a country to have a clear demarcation of powers and responsibilities in the constitution? What would happen in the absence of such a demarcation? So it is very necessary that there has to be a demarcation, limitation, boundary of power and responsibility in the constitution, because we need to ensure that no single institution acquire monopoly of power, have enough power to subvert the constitution. In case of transgressions, it may be checked by one of the institution to specify who plays important role in the decision making powers, and it shows how government would be constituted. It lays down some limits in the government and citizens, both which are fundamental in nature, which should not be trespassed, or you can say you cannot destroy it. That is, any government or citizen cannot trespass it. They cannot go beyond the boundary they have been specified. And the constitution shows how organs of the government are interrelated. Sambandh kya hai inme? Along with the demarcation of powers of institutions like the legislature, executive, judiciary, as well as there are statutory bodies like the Election Commission of India. The judiciary has been given a specific place to declare any law unconstitutional if not at par the provisions of the government. If the government makes some, say, provisions of the constitution, if they are debarring, that means if they make some law which is not as per the constitution, the judiciary can declare that law unconstitutional. And in the absence of such a demarcation, if we don't have this kind of demarcation, the federal setup would get strained and there would be crisis in center as well as the states. Arajakta ka mahal ho jayega. There would be a problem to the citizens and laws. This will be proved to be unjust and unfair. Why is it necessary for a constitution to place limitation on the rulers, those who are ruling us, Shasak? Can there be a constitution that gives no power to all to the citizens? So it is necessary to put the limitation, as we just saw. These units are fundamental in the sense that the rulers should not trespass. They don't do monopoly or anarchy, or monarchy should not come. The citizens have been specified certain fundamental rights in constitution to limit powers of the rulers. Citizens have been granted some basic rights of liberties, that is the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom to form trade union association, which cannot be checked by, which cannot be destroyed or you can say subverted by the government. Only during the national emergency, if something happens like this or in national interest, these rights may be withdrawn during some specific periods. And it is necessary for the constitution to place limitation on the rulers, otherwise they may not turn to be a dictator. As I said, the dictatorship should not come and may overlook the people interest. Constitution guards and control the rulers. And the second part we answer like this: no, there can be no constitution that gives no power to its people, because everyone is people. The country is because of the people. Citizens are the main key for any constitution, for any country, for anything to happen. There has to be people. In a constitutional monarchy, monarch decides the power of the people. In a dictatorship, the ruler is supposed to get the support of people to cling to the power. That is, you saw the General Pervez Musharraf. Now he conducted the periodic referendum, and in this referendum he got the power. He held the power. In a democratic institution, constitution, the people are the real source of power, where public mandate is required to enact the policies of the rulers. And there can be a constitution that gives no power to all the citizens. It is always for the welfare of the citizen of the country. Even if you are in a democratic country or a single ruled country, single person ruled country, there has to be power to the people given, otherwise people will revolt. The Japanese constitution was made with the US occupation army was still in control of Japan after its defeat in the Second World War. The Japanese constitution would not have had any provision that the US government did not like. Do you see any problem in this way of making the constitution? In which way was the Indian experience different from this? See, the United States, they used the nuclear bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and both of the cities were destroyed. And the Japanese people, the army or all the rulers at their time, they have to bow down because of the immense casualty. So now the Japanese constitution could not have made any provision that the US government did not like after the defeat of the Japan in Second World War, 1939 to 1945. And due to the fact that the constitution seeks to perform the functions and look after the interests of the rulers and the authorities in the country who has occupied it, like the US. But in a democratic country, a constitution expresses the fundamental identity of the people of that country, as in India. So Indian experience was different from the experience of Japan in certain manner. First is the Indian constitution was framed by a proper Samvidhan Sabha Constituent Assembly, which was elected to aspire India to be a society free of any sort of discrimination among people. The framers of Indian constitution worked for leading a life of social dignity and social respect, along with the minimum material well-being and education to an individual. Indian constitution enabled the government to fulfill the aspiration of society to make it more better. Indian constitution has inculcated the federal spirit with the distribution of powers between the different level of government as well as the legislatures, that is the state legislature and the central legislature, and the independent judiciary have also been set up. The Constituent Assembly framed constitution after a long debates and discussed to provide the political, social and legal equalities to the people of the country. Raj asked his teacher certain question. The constitution is 50-year-old and therefore outdated book. No one took my consent for implementing it. It is written in such a tough language that I cannot understand it. Tell me why I should obey it, or I should obey this document. If you were the teacher, how would you answer Rajat? If you are a teacher, then what you are going to say? Indian constitution is a blend of flexibility and rigidity. Therefore, despite being 50-year-old, it is not outdated, as it has been amended a number of times, changed number of times whenever required, to be modified from time to time according to the present need. The constitution was framed by Constituent Assembly of an elected representative from every section of the society. Though this Constituent Assembly was dominated by Congress, which occupied around 82% of the seat in Assembly, but it has representation from every class, religion, communities, regions to accommodate all shades of opinion within it. And though it is not possible to consult each and every individual in framing a constitution, you cannot ask each and every individual. Therefore, the provision were made to elect representatives from every section to reflect the people from all these different sections. In a discussion on the experience of working of our constitution, three speakers took different positions: Harbans, Neha and Nazima. Harbans said the Indian constitution has succeeded in giving us a framework of democratic government. So now what you have to say, that in this, do you agree with any of these positions? If yes, why? If not, what is your position? So what Harbans has said, Indian Constitution is a document consisting the supreme and fundamental laws of the country about the powers, functions, structures of the government. So Constitution also shows that how the organs of different governments, they are interrelated with each other, as well as the relationship between the government and its citizens. So in the preamble of the Constitution, India has been declared as a sovereign, socialistic, secular, democratic republic to provide social, economic, political justice to all the citizens, along with the introduction of universal adult franchise. But in practice, Indian democracy is suffering from various social and economic evils which have proved a curse. Now, Neha said the Constitution made solemn promises of ensuring liberty, equality and fraternity. Since this has not happened, the Constitution has failed. So here we will say that equality and freedom of citizens is distributed on the basis of some constitutional activities. And though the provisions for free and fair election have been made, even this money and muscle power is prevailing everywhere. Sometimes political leaders are found belonging to the criminal background, and some play the politics of the vote bank or different caste and religion. The judiciary has to interfere in the functioning of executives and legislatures. Various problems are still being faced by the country, like the terrorism, Naxalite, communal rights, etc. Therefore, we agree with the position of Neha that the goals which were supposed to be achieved through the Constitution has not still been achieved due to the above facts which we just discussed. So, we can say that the Constitution has failed to fulfill the needs of the individuals. Then what Nazima has to say, the Constitution has not failed us, we have failed the Constitution. So here we have failed the Constitution because we have not applied our sincere efforts towards citizens' welfare properly. Corruption has taken place in public and private sector both. This is not only due to the representatives, but the citizens are not vigilant and they are not also dutiful. The citizens are also supposed to be active in public affairs and to support other citizens in the exercise of the rights and the discharge of obligations. The citizens should get themselves educated to curb the social and economic inequality to implement the Constitution. Therefore, it can be concluded that the Constitution has not failed us, but we are also a part of it to fail it. So, we have failed the Constitution due to our negligence towards our rights and duties. We are taking Political Science Chapter 1 NCERT questions, which are the extra questions from the textbook we have. So, these are certain extra questions, additional questions that may be asked. The first is, what is Constitution? So, Constitution of any country is a written document which prescribes it to be a supreme law of the country to decide the structure of the government, also the rights and duties of the citizens. The Constitution tells or speaks about who would play a vital role in decision making. That is, who is going to be the decision maker. What are the features of constitutions? So first of all, it is the supreme law of the country. It maintains a relationship between the government and the people, that is the citizens of the country. It constitutes that how the government structure will be, that is, it constitutes the structure of the government, and it tells who would play an important role in decision making powers. What is the nature of India as per the preamble of the Indian Constitution? India is sovereign, secular, socialist, democratic republic state according to the preamble of our Indian Constitution. Mention the function of Constitution which set some limits on our government, but on the other hand it favors the citizens also. So the Constitution sets some limits on the government that can be imposed on its citizens, and these limits are fundamental in the sense that the government may never trespass them. So there is a proper periphery or the boundary for the government. Government cannot trespass them. The basic idea is to give the fundamental rights to the citizens of the country. So these fundamental rights cannot be breached or trespassed by any decision being made by the government. What is the need and importance of a constitution? See, the constitution provides a framework within which a government has to work. I'll just give you an example. See, if this is your school, now the timing of your school is 8 a.m. and say it ends at 3 p.m. Now, if this timing now is not there, then what will happen? Someone will come at 9, some may not come, some may come at 1 p.m. So this will create a havoc. So we need to have a proper arrangement, proper rules and regulations so that the school can be run. So in order to run a country, we need to have a constitution. First of all, the constitution provides a framework within which a government has to work, and it minimizes the chances of any kind of disputes, vibhed, among the various organs of the government, because it clearly defines the powers and the functions separately among the legislature, for example, the executionary, and the third one is the judiciary. And there are other parts of the institutions also which comes under government, which does not comes under government, like Election Commission of India. It also controls the misuse of the power of the government, because the power is so distributed, not a single entity has the monopoly. So, and the other institution checks and balances the other institutions like each other. It safeguards the fundamental rights of the citizens. This is the work of constitution. What do you mean by democratic, with special reference to India? Loktantra, what does it mean? So democratic or democracy denotes to choose the democracy as a way of life and run the administration through democratic institutions like the legislatures, the executive, the free and fair judiciary, and etc., like Election Commission of India, etc. So this democratic word in preamble refers to the social and economic democracy except political democracy. What do the political and economic justice stands for? Justice means you get the law, or you are governed by the rule of law. So the political justice and economic justice, how do we differ them? Political justice refers to the equal rights, political rights to be enjoyed by all the citizens of the country, where every citizen has a right to elect their representative as well as a right to be elected as the representative. That means you can vote and you can be voted also. Economic justice means every citizen of the country should get equal opportunities to earn its bread, like one's livelihood, as well as equal payment for equal work, whether it will be a man or a woman. What is preamble or to the constitution? So preamble means the constitution, it is an introductory part, like a gist or a summary. It's a summary, the part of constitution which enables the people to assess and evaluate the performance of the government in light of the objectives which are laid down into the preamble. Mention the 4 main features of Indian Constitution. So first of all, it establishes a sovereign democratic republic in India, and it established India as a secular state, Dharma Nirpeksh Rajya. It has provisions of fundamental rights as well as the fundamental duties to the citizens of India, and it establishes a parliamentary form of government in India. India is a secular state. Bharat ek dharma nirpeksh desh hai. Justify the statement. So the word secular was put in the preamble to constitution through the 42nd amendment. The secular refers to the state, that means the state, that the country, the government, whichever is there, has no religion of its own. That is, it is going to show respect to all the religions. The state observes complete neutrality in religious matters. The 45th amendment carries equal respect and recognition to all religions, and there should be no discrimination, which is in India, that has ever been made against any individual belonging to different communities, religions and castes. What do you understand by the term liberty, equality, fraternity in the preamble to constitution? So the liberty means it is stated in the preamble as a goal that the people should have liberty of thought, that is the freedom. Freedom of thought, freedom of expression, belief, faith, and the state should remove the obstacles for the individuals to enjoy freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. Equality means the preamble of the constitution always emphasizes to remove any kind of discrimination, any sort of discrimination on the basis of sex, religion, race, color, caste, etc. And what are the provisions that are being made? Article 14, that is equality of justice. Article 15, social equality. Article 16, equality to achieve administrative services. Article 17, untouchability is removed, that is, it comes with social equality. Article 18, all the designations except academic and military were finished. Fraternity. Fraternity refers to the brotherhood. एक साथ रहने की जो व्यवस्था है. Fraternity refers to brotherhood, means equality of all citizens and their integrity. Everybody in society should be provided with the basic right to food, housing, clothing without any discrimination. So everyone has to be treated equally. Every citizen of the state is to be regarded as the part of decision-making process. What is the main difference between the position of the head of the state in India and that of the USA? How can you justify that India is a republic? Or these are the same question asked in different ways. See, India is a republic because the head of the state is president, who is elected by the electoral college of the parliament. That is, the parliament elect the president and the state legislative assembly for a fixed period of 5 years. So the state and the central government, they both are involved in order to elect a president. And the difference between the position of the president of India and the USA is that in USA, the president is the head of the presidential form of democratic government. That is, real head of the executive. In India, it is Prime Minister. Whereas in India, the president is the head of parliamentary government, that is the Prime Minister, PM, and his cabinet. They are the real executive. And the president is the nominal head of the state. What is a constitution? How can we say that constitution is a living document? A constitution is a written set of rules and regulations to run the government of a country. It also defines the position of three organs of the government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, along with the maintenance or the maintain relationship between the government and the citizens, and also the check and balances between executive, legislature, judiciary, and other organs of the government. A constitution is a living document. Why? Because it contains provision to resolve socio-economic problems. To update at par the provisions of the constitution, the amendments are made, and judicial interpretation, executive orders, these customs, they also support the growth of the constitution. So constitution is capable to adopt new conditions as they arise. That is, amendment can be done, changes can be done, modifications can be applied. Why should we respect our constitution, or why is constitution respected? See, first of all, the constitution is supreme and the fundamental law of the country. There is nothing above the constitution. संविधान से ऊपर कुछ भी नहीं है. A constitution distributes the power and functions among three organs of the government, that is the legislature and the executive and the judiciary. The government of India is composed of principles laid down in a constitution. And a constitution maintains relationship between the government and the constitution. And the constitution was made by the Constituent Assembly, and all these people who are involved in this Constituent Assembly were elected by different provinces, by British, which were in British rule, which were not in British rule, and they were representing all the sections of the society. And those people who are making this constitution, they were well respected people who have come out of the national movement which happened in India because of the British rule. India is a sovereign democratic republic. Justify the statement. So India is a sovereign state. That means India has attained full status of independent statehood. First of all, it is no longer under subjugation of any foreign power. Previously we were under the British rule, but now we are sovereign. We are not under any foreign power. India is free to conduct her internal and external affairs as India deems desirable. So we are the own power by ourselves. We don't have to see anyone else to make our decisions. India is a democratic state. What does it mean? This means the ultimate source of political and constitutional authority of India is vested only with the people, the citizens of the country. Elections are held on regular intervals, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, on the basis of adult franchise, that anyone who is 18 plus, he or she can cast vote. Equality is the basic principle of the democratic form of the government, and citizens of India enjoy the justifiable fundamental rights. The rule of law is an essential feature of the Indian democratic state. Why India is a republic? The head of the state is the President of India. He is elected by the Electoral College of Parliament and State Assemblies after every 5 years. Indian Constitution contains some provision for social justice. Examine. So in India, social justice is lacking due to the fact that the persons who enjoy greater wealth and property, they have power and others are usually seen to be deprived. So positions are made or the provisions are being made in Indian Constitution to end this social justice in India which is prevailing for long. So the Indian Constitution has declared the practice of the untouchability. That is called you cannot touch people, or touch of people is bad previously. Untouchability. Asprashyata, a punishable offense now. The state will provide equal opportunities to all the citizens of the country. No one can be discriminated for using public facilities on the ground of their caste, religion and language. So India works on welfare state philosophy to the welfare of people and the upliftment, emancipation for the weaker section or the marginalized sections. Constitution has given special privilege to SC, ST, the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, other backward classes and even to the women and the minorities. Write a note on Constituent Assembly. What is a Constituent Assembly? So the Indian Constitution was made by the Constituent Assembly, also called as Samvidhan Sabha. It held its first sitting on 9 December 1946 and reassembled on 14 August 1947 by the elected members of the Provisional Legislative Assembly through an election. It was composed roughly along the lines suggested by the Cabinet Mission of the British rule, and on 26 November 1949, 284 actual members appended or they actually signed the Constitution. Constituent Assembly was made seriously a representative body in which the representation from all sections of the society was made and accommodated all shades of opinion from each and every religion, caste, creed and the region. The assembly took 166 days spread over 2 years. So this is not 166 days. Let me tell you that these are 166 sittings. 166 sittings, and it took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to frame the constitution finally adopted by the Indian country. What is the philosophy of Indian Constitution? Discuss. Now, the framers who framed the constitution, they expressed their vision for a new society and polity. Despite they have all the differences between them, the framers, they reached a consensus to be reflected in the constitution. So Indian Constitution was attempted to reach, it was made to reach the goal of building a new social order on the basis of democracy, equality and justice. It also projected fundamental rights and civil liberties of Indian citizens along with fundamental duties and directive principles of the state policy. Indian Constitution is based on liberal, welfare, democratic society to be reflected in the preamble. Therefore, the philosophy of Constitution finds its expression in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. Passage-based questions of class 11 political science. We have to read the passage and then answer the question which are following. So let us read the passage first. I have realized, as nobody else could have, with what zeal and devotion the members of the drafting committee and especially its chairman, Dr. Ambedkar, in spite of his indifferent health, has worked. We could never make a decision which was or could be ever so right as when we put him on the drafting committee and made him its chairman. He hasn't only justified his selection but has added luster to the work which he has done. In this connection, it would be invidious to make any distinction as among the other members of the committee. I know they have all worked with same zeal and devotion and its chairman, and they deserve the thanks of the country. Now the question is, who was the chairman of the drafting committee? The answer is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Bhimrao Ambedkar was the chairman of the drafting committee. What made the Constituent Assembly of India unique? The Constituent Assembly, Samvidhan Sabha of India, included the members of all shades of opinion who did not simply advance their interest, but gave principled reasons to other members. That is, there was debate on every aspect except the voting, universal suffrage. How long the Constitution of India took in framing? So it took 2 years, 11 months, 18 days, almost 3 years. Who was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly? Dr. Rajendra Prasad. He was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly. Now the next passage. One likes to ask whether there can be anything new in Constitution framed at this hour in the history of the world. The only new things, if there can be any, in a Constitution framed so late in the day are the variations made to remove the faults and to accommodate it to the needs of the country. The question is, whose words have been referred to here? The answer is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar have been referred to. What was the main new thing according to B.R. Ambedkar during the process of framing the Indian Constitution? So according to B.R. Ambedkar Sahab, the only new thing in the new Constitution framed so late in the day are the variations made to remove the failures and accommodate it to the needs of India. Now we are taking the long answer type questions. Write the preamble to the Indian Constitution. So the preamble is, we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all the fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly this 26th day of November 1949 do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution. What was Objectives Resolution? Uddeshya Prastavana. Explain. So the best summary of the principle that the nationalist movement Rashtriya Andolan brought to the Constituent Assembly, that is the Samvidhan Sabha, is the objective resolution that defines the aim of the assembly moved by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in 1946. It encapsulated the aspirations and the values behind the Constitution. That is, India is an independent sovereign republic. India shall be a union of erstwhile British Indian territories, Indian states and other parts outside British India, and the Indian states as are willing to be part of the union. Territories forming the union shall be autonomous units and exercise all powers and functions of the government and administration except those assigned to or vested in the union. All people of India should be guaranteed and secured social, economic and political justice, equality of status and opportunities, and equality before law and fundamental freedom of speech, expression, belief, faith, worship, association and action subject to law and public morality. The minorities, backward and tribal areas, depressed and other backward classes shall be provided adequate safeguards. The land would make full and willing contributions to the promotion of world peace and welfare of the mankind, and all powers and authority of sovereign and independent India and its constitution shall flow from the people. The territorial integrity of republic and its sovereign rights on land, sea and air shall be maintained according to justice and law of civilized nations. What are the unique features of Indian Constitution? The unique features of Indian Constitution is, first, Indian Constitution is a written set of rules and regulations, and it is the lengthiest constitution in the world. It contains 395 articles, 12 schedules and a book of more than 250 pages. Indian Constitution has provided to Indian citizens fundamental rights and to establish a welfare state. Directive principles, Niti Nirdeshak Tattva of state policy have also been generated. By the 42nd Amendment in 1976, fundamental duties have also been added up in the Constitution, around 10. Indian constitution is federal in structure but unitary in spirit, that is Ekatmak and Sanghatmak. The Indian constitution is a blend of flexibility and rigidity, that is some of the articles in constitution can be amended by a simple majority, but some require 2/3 majority of the parliament and voting in each house, as well as to be ratified by at least half of the state legislatures. Along with the feature taken from these sources. First, the Government of India Act 1935, about 2/3 of the Indian Constitution is derived from the Government of India Act, which was in 1935. That was the provincial autonomy, parliamentary system, federal count and federal system. From the British Constitution, we took parliamentary form of government, the idea of the rule of law, institution of the speaker and his role, law-making procedure, single citizenship and single integrated judiciary. From United States of America Constitution, Charter of Fundamental Rights, we took power of judicial review and independence of the judiciary and preamble to Constitution. From Ireland, Irish Constitution, we took the guidelines to the state, that is provided for the guidelines to the state and included directive principles of state policy. French Constitution, we took principle of liberty, equality and fraternity. Canadian Constitution, the quasi-federal form of government, that is the federal system with a strong central government and the idea of residual powers. From German Constitution, emergency provisions and Indian President's powers to impose external or internal emergencies. Now we are taking the picture-based questions. We have to read this cartoon. This is given in your book. And you have to answer, does this anyway always happen in any constitution making? The thing written here is, this is this European constitution. Countries of the European Union tried to create a European constitution. The attempt failed. So here is a cartoonist impression of this attempt. So the answer is no, this does not happen in all constitution making. If the representative in Constituent Assembly, that is the Samvidhan Sabha, these are elected either directly or indirectly from all sections of the society, the attempt of framing constitution would be successful. Now here is the cartoon. The constitution makers have to address themselves to very different aspirations. So here is Nehru, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru is trying to balance between different visions and ideologies. So can you identify what these different groups stands for? The cartoon refers to different religions, the cultures, the caste, the regions. They have different preferences, that is liberal nationalist and radical nationalist we have. What do you think prevailed in this balancing act? So both the songs, Jana Gana Mana and Vande Mataram, they were accepted as national heritage. The first is our national anthem and second is our national song. All the Indians show respect and sing both the songs. And despite so many diversities of language, customs, cultures, festivals, and the whole country has the same respect for this national song and the tricolor, that is the flag. So they balance the diversity of India. Here we have the writings of the new Iraqi constitution after the collapse of Saddam Hussein regime. Saw a lot of conflict between different ethnic groups in the country, that is the Sunnis and the Shias and the Kurds. What do these different people stand for? Compare the conflict depicted here with that depicted in earlier cartoons for the European Union and India. So what they are saying is not that they have agreed to join hands. We expect a constitution very soon, Baghdad. So the chief is saying that I have got the paper, I'll write it. The Shiites are saying I've got the pen, I should write it. The Sunnis are saying, and the Kurds, I've got the ink, let me write it. So what do these different people stand for? The answer is the cartoonist is referring to different ethnic groups in Iraq, the Shia, the Sunnis and the Kurds. The above groups stand for their own philosophies, ideologies and interest. Compare the conflict depicted here with that depicted in earlier cartoons for the European Union and India. So the Iraqi people expect to frame a new constitution and to be accepted by all the ethnic groups of Iraq. Shiites, Sunnis and the Kurds. So in the European Union, the attempt of the people failed, but in India, the same attempt got success. Now here we have the cards, the cards. So why does the cartoonist describe the new Iraqi constitution as the castle of cards, the playing cards? Now the answer is because it is being prepared by a pro-US. Because after Saddam Hussein downfall, the Shia community, which was basically in Iraq, we have Shia, Sunni and Kurds. Now Shia and Sunni, the Sunni are in the minority. The Sunnis were in minority, but Saddam Hussein belonged to the Sunni community. So he was ruling it. Now the Shia community, which was in majority, the US now wants to make this constitution along with this majority Shia community. So the people as well as the Constituent Assembly of Iraq is not representing the all ethnic groups of the country. Therefore, the constitution is imposed and will be scattered as a castle of cards, which ultimately happened because we saw what unrest happened in Iraq after this, and then the advent of ISIS took place. Apply to the Indian constitution. Now this description does not apply to Indian constitution. Why? Because the Indian constitution, Bharatiya Samvidhan, is not imposed on Indians, but it was framed from among different shades of opinion after a long discussion and debates. 166 meetings, around 2 years, 11 months, 18 days it took. It was adopted by people willfully because all the framers were well respected by the people and they have come from the national movement, and it is a living document to be amended from time to time at par aspirations of people. So amendment, modification is possible. So these were the question and answer. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.